Today is February 19th. Today, my baby son became an American citizen at the Paris embassy. As I said last night, I'm in Paris. This is my hotel room. It's rainy outside and cold, and we were out all morning long. And my daughter, who was born in America, swore in her baby brother to be an American citizen, and he held his little flag and everything. He was so cute. So these two boys here are American citizens born in France. And then I have my daughter who was born in America, but she's also a French citizen. My son, he is just American, unless one day his dad wants to claim him on the birth certificate. And his dad did want to claim him after my husband and I divorced. I do believe him. He had told me that his lawyers discussed that with him and said it was for the best. I didn't believe him when he said that, but now that I know that, yes, he is working with lawyers, maybe he did really ask them what was the best thing to do, but I don't understand why that would be the best thing. Bless you. But it's just really hard. With everything going on, it's just really hard to know what was sincere and not sincere. I do believe in my heart that he was going to claim the baby, and he still may claim the baby after he knows my ex and I divorce. But, and even like my soon-to-be ex was even wondering, like, maybe it has to do with his assets, because in the technical sense, maybe my ex would be trying to dib into his assets, which is, I think, also what his ex-girlfriend's baby's dad is doing now. You got that? What I said? His ex-girlfriend's baby's dad is doing now. Like, with what he's told me and stuff, he just seems really disgusted in that guy, and they really don't get along. And that is kind of slimy for him, for the boyfriend to be getting involved in the girlfriend, between another ex-couple's relationship and trying to like take money from him. But yeah, so this is just really difficult. But so it's Mercury retrograde, or it's going to become Mercury retrograde. I notice every time when the psychics say that it's going to be Mercury retrograde, which usually it's Nadia Shah that I would listen to about that. And I normally would feel the effects 2 days before the retrograde would happen. And I think it's hitting me really hard because I so desperately want to reach out to my ex to let him know that his son is now an American citizen, and not reach out like to be mean and like no like that. No. I just wanted to share it with him because I think it's a really important milestone in his life. And anyway, if his dad wants to be in his birth certificate, there's no problem to do that. It's not like we have to go through the Supreme Court or something. We just have to both, fill out some paperwork, and there you go. But it's really difficult because I did a lot of tarot readings that show, with how things are going, that he is changing and transforming himself, even though it's so hurtful that I don't hear from him. All of this is and I just did a vlog last night about my epiphany on all this, and it's really difficult because I want to reach out to him, but my tarot cards are showing that he's changing right now because I'm not talking to him. And I know that retrograde has this effect that, people who are not in communication will want to reach out to each other. But that, people who are not in communication will want to reach out to each other. But I feel like if I reach out to him, I'm just gonna ruin it. Oops, hold on. He dropped his little toy. Oh well, I'll record while I'm talking. Ah! Okay. Yeah, so I don't want to ruin the process because I know that it's retrograde affecting how I feel. Here you go, baby. Isn't it beautiful outside? And here, baby. And I don't want to I want him to, I don't, because if I talk to him, then it is like I am accepting him for how he was and how he is. And if he is not ready for me and I reach out to him, it's like I'm shooting myself in the foot because I do not want him to treat me the way he has been treating me. And by doing this, even though it is like, it does feel like it's going against every fiber of my being, it's for the best, you know? Because either way, if he reaches out to me, then it's a new start, and then I can start practicing the self-love that I've been realizing about what I need to become. You know, self-love meaning don't allow someone to treat you bad. If my ex starts being the way he is, learn to walk away, learn to, you know, not to be so like how our grandparents were like sticking through it no matter what. And you end up, you know, doing so much harm to yourself because you're in a relationship where he knows he can just walk away or not talk to you and you're going to stay there. Yeah, and so it's like the way, that's the message I'm getting. If I reach out to him now, it is like I am making an agreement to a contract that I accept him for how he is at the moment I talk to him. So if he's not ready, I am shooting myself in the foot, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm resisting the urge to talk to him. I don't, and I also think too, if I was to reach out to him, either he would be like so happy to hear from me, or either he would be like mean to me, like, I told you not to talk to me, you know, one of those two things. And he could go right back to ignoring me all over again, just like he did. And um what's it called? Gosh, what was I gonna say about him talking to me or not? I don't want him to think that I am like dangling this in his face either. I don't want it to backfire that way either. Like, oh, you're gonna be, he's an American. Oh, that means now you're gonna just leave and, you know, run away with my child. See, I don't want none of that. So even though those are not my intentions, I just see like it's not good for me to talk to him right now, even though I really want to. And even though this retrograde is kind of forcing me with this illusion to talk to him. I just have to fight through it. Um, and, oh yes, that was the other thing. If he ends to never talk to me again, if his pride way outweighs his transformation and he never talks to me again because of his pride, then he just was not meant to be in my life, and I need to accept that as my self-love learning. Because I should not be putting up with people who are going to let their pride dictate themselves. You know, if it's me versus their pride, because that's one thing with self-love. With this lesson, the universe has been throwing at me regarding self-love and balance, equal give and take, is people should treat me the way I treat them, and I should treat people the way I want to treat, how I want to be treated. Therefore, if I'm treating someone with love and compassion and partnership and trust and you know, calling And, being in a relationship and they cannot be the same way back, then they should not be in my life, regardless. And here's the part that I struggle with. It seems like Ellen is kind of being like my dad. My dad is very hard-headed, and I talked about this in my vlog last night. My dad was very hard-headed. He loved my mom, but he treated her really, really bad because my mom was so dedicated to him and put up with everything. And even though my dad really did love my mom, and I discovered that in the end, he treated her really shitty and he cheated on her a lot. But he loved her, you know? And it's because my mom did not have any respect for herself. So she does not respect herself. No one else is going to respect her, not even her own husband. Because my mom never put her foot down. So that's the thing. I have to learn to put my foot down, because if I do not respect myself, who is? And I didn't even know my dad really loved my mom. When they divorced, he didn't want to divorce, and he kept her old pictures, and he kept them for years after he was remarried, because he got married right away after they divorced to the woman he was cheating on my mom with. And then little by little, he started to give me and my sisters those pictures that he kept of him and my mom. So see, while he was in his new wife's life, he, he was still staring at pictures of him and my mom together when my mom used to be very young and beautiful. And yeah, but who would have thought? Because my mom thought my dad hated him, hated her. But turns out he didn't. He just had no respect for her. He knew he could treat her like shit because she would put up with it. And that's what the universe is trying to show me. The family curse, which, really it's like a cycle that needs to be broken, is us women being treated like crap and allowing it. And the new cycle is to stop it and to love ourselves more, where we demand to be treated with respect, and we're willing to leave if it's not being given to us. If we are giving you respect, we expect it back, instead of just like, oh, I love him, therefore I'm going to put up with it. Maybe one day he'll change, so it's like, okay, because my dad, he's very hard-headed, and he will not talk to us girls, his children, for years. And he's still this way with us. He only talks to one of us, one sister out of the 5 of us. And because he's hard-headed, when he's wrong, he does not want to admit it. What happens is we will have to come around and just like, Merry Christmas, that, and then start talking to him. And it's like we have to work on the relationship. It's very one-sided. He doesn't do nothing. But if you talk to him and he feels like talking to you, then he'll talk to you. So it's like, I was thinking, like, gosh, that's the way how I think it is going to be with Ellen. Like, he may never talk to me again. He may be just like my dad, because my dad does not talk to his own children. So why would Ellen want to talk to me or even know about how his son is doing? If he's that prideful and hard-headed. Hey! Hold on. Oh, okay, he's entertained. He's playing with his rabbit. Yeah, so that's really sad. But like the universe said, if that's what's gonna happen, then he did not deserve to be in your life in the first place. So thank goodness for that. Hold on. So as painful and hard as that is, I'm just gonna have to accept it. If he never ever reaches out to me, then I just have to accept it. Because see, this is kind of like, I think Alen is the most closest to my dad as I ever got with any of my exes. Because my dad, you could have sworn that my dad was happily married to his now wife. But when my dad talks to us, when he does actually talk to me on the phone, he tells me like how unhappy he is with her, and how, like, cuz she's a very jealous woman, and she, like, his marriage with her is way different than his marriage with my mom, because so, oh, that's, I was almost going to say her name. She does not put up with my dad's crap. She has broken dishes. She gets into arguments. She has tried to steal her IDs so he doesn't so she can leave him. She doesn't put up with his crap, and my mom would. My mom would put up with anything he did. And I think he doesn't like that about her. And so he'll complain about it to me. And when my younger brothers would go visit him because they were still under 18, she would get very jealous. And that is so stupid, right? That is so stupid and wrong. And my dad would tell me all this. It was my dad telling me this. It wasn't anyone else. It was my dad telling me how frustrated he was that she gets jealous over him seeing his own sons because he wants to see his sons. You know, he has one son who is named after my grandpa and one son that's named after him. And they're important to my dad. He, you know, his two boys, they were born one after the other, after us girls. And and yeah, you know, my dad doesn't talk to them either now. And it's like the universe is like telling me, you need to love yourself more and love yourself first. Do not worry if he never calls you back. Because you know, the tarot readers, they always are like, he's gonna come back, he's gonna call back. But it never would happen with me. The only time when we had a fallout and he actually called me back, he called me 2 days after the due date of my son being born. Because wait, gosh. Or, well, he called me around the time that my son should be born. We had a fallout again. Like, who should be doing a fallout, making an argument with the woman who's pregnant with your child, and she's like gonna give birth any day now. See, that's wrong. And so we weren't talking. I was crying the whole time. I was so depressed, so sad. And then finally one day he called, and he's like, "Did you have your baby yet?" And then we like made up because of that, you know. But that was the only time. Normally I'm the one who's like begging him back, and he comes back. But like I said in the video last night, he has an advantage because he's a professional basketball player. And I came to the epiphany that, you know, when you're as an athlete like that, especially like with basketball, you need to have these extra senses, and to be professional, it needs to be even more heightened. He knows how to read people. Because like when you're playing basketball, you know, you need to pretend, and you need to read people. You get it? So he knows how to read people. He can see if I love him or not. He can see if you're genuine or not. He knows how to read you. He knows because he's an athlete, he's a player. He knows how to formulate plans in his brain, like what he's going to do, his strategies based off of what he's feeling about you. And all of that is very unfair to me because it's like a genius to a kindergartner, you know? I don't have that heightened body language sense and such like him, and game play, you know, strategy like him. So what has happened since I've been with him is my intuition has really been high. It's like my body adjusted, or my mind adjusted to him, because my consciousness could tell that he has an advanced sense of human emotion, like picking up your feelings and strategizing. So my defense back was to heighten my intuition even more in order to deal with him, because he was playing so much games on me, because he's in a really toxic point in his life because of his trial that he wasn't telling me about with his ex, where she's like, you know, he left her with two small kids. They were common law, and she has moved on. She has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend are suing my ex, the father of my son, for his assets. And so he is now guarding himself and manipulating me. He's punishing me for something she's doing, and that's wrong too, you know. And yeah, so that's where this becomes really messy and really unfair. And I'm like an innocent person stuck in the middle of all this because I did not deserve none of that. You know, when I was going through my trial with my children and my ex, I did not lash out on my husband. He stayed there the whole time I needed him. But my ex, the father of my son, is not seeing me like, oh, she's been through what I'm going through right now. I can lean on her. No, he doesn't tell me nothing. He keeps everything a secret and he pretends like nothing's going on. He is very, very good at pretending nothing is going on and keeping a smile on his face. And I didn't realize that. It took me a long time to realize that. And one of the times was when he made me cry when I was pregnant and we were walking, and I'm here bawling my eyes out, and he was like pretending like nothing and saying hi to people and greeting people because, you know, people know who he is. I don't know who he is. But, you know, saying hi and greeting people and smiling like nothing's going on. And I'm like, dude, you just made me cry and you're like pretending like nothing's happening. And you know what? My dad would do the same thing to my mom. You know, my dad would like tear my mom down to shreds, make her cry, and then he would go right back and be smiling at his friends and acting like nothing. And so it's like, I loved him. I really loved him. But do I really want to put myself through that? Do I want to become my mom part two in a relationship like that? And I don't want to be exercising my self love strategies constantly on someone. I really would just love to have a good relationship where I can trust the person as much as they trust me. Because I know that those guys exist out there. I know they do. I'm not like my ex where I'm all broken and thinking because my ex screwed me over, now all girls are out to screw me over. I know that there's good guys and there's bad guys out there. And I just hope now I learned my lesson about a guy coming, being very charming, being very, very like wanting to sweep me off my feet and wanting to move very fast because he moved very fast. I was pregnant with my son within a month. He wanted to, he was already talking about like living together and getting married within weeks. And I thought it was romantic. I thought, wow, he knows what he wants. And he even said he knows what he wants. But you know who said that too? Lamar Odom. And so, and look at him with his fiance. Look at how hard she has to be. Look at how she has to be like constantly on him and checking his phone and being like so dominant. I don't want to be that. I'm a feminine. I'm supposed to be a divine feminine, not a divine masculine. And I understand divine feminine means like, well, the merging of your masculine and feminine, but still being feminine. But I don't want to be no one's babysitter. And I don't want to be like constantly like with a rod in my hand and slamming it on the floor like, listen to me. I just want to be happy. And that's what I've always prayed for, and that's what I just don't understand. But maybe that's a lesson. What, okay, you want to be happy, you need to learn to love yourself, because I'm not getting divorced because I love myself. I gained 80 pounds and was in a miserable marriage for 10 years, but I stuck it out because in my family and many women, we stay with our man no matter what. We stick it out. That's why I stayed in a 7-year relationship, a 5-year relationship, and now a 10-year marriage, because you work it out, even if you're miserable, even if it kills you. You work it out. You got a man, he's the last man on earth, keep him. And it's like the universe is trying to spread a new message to us women to not be like that anymore. That's the old way. The new way now is love yourself first. And when you find someone who loves you and realizes your importance and um, loves you as much as you love yourself, and you love them as much as they love themselves, like an equal balance, then you get with that person and you work on your relationship. But it's no longer like this crappy, you just pick someone, they turn out to be super toxic, and you stay with them and suffer. I believe that that's what the universe is doing to us. It's changing our perspective of partnership now. Because probably there's too many messed up people on this world because they grew up in bad homes with bad parents. I mean, just look at my kids. They saw me and my ex constantly arguing, and I looked older, I looked stressed, I was fat because it's cortisol, because my ex loves to make me angry. He loves, not talking about my son's father, I'm talking about the 10-year marriage man. He loved to upset me all the time. And then I listened to Shira 7-1. I learned how to manage my emotions, and because that's what he loves, to make me mad. He loves to poke me. He loves, he's sick. And I can't wait till I'm not married to him no more. I cannot wait to change my last name back to my last name, and I cannot wait to no longer be bound to him through marriage, because I feel like I'm bound to the devil, and marriage shouldn't feel like that, right? And I felt like that since the first year we were living together and married. And he's such a jerk. He says it's because we were married that I feel this way. Like, because we were living together. Like, had my other exes lived with me, then they would have been the same way. But I had my first, my ex of 7 years. We lived together for almost 2 years, and it wasn't great either, but it wasn't the relationship I had with my ex of 10 years. Because I gained a lot of weight and a lot of cortisol. I didn't gain weight with my other ex. And when I met Ellen, I lost like nothing. I lost 20 pounds. I began to look younger. I was so happy. I was just happy and in love. He made me so happy. And now it's like so upsetting that he went from making me so happy to making me so sad, because he changed. He made a fake person his representative, what I fell in love with, and then he took that representative away, and he's like, okay, here I am, I'm really demented, now adjust to this person. And it's really hard because I am in love with the representative, not the demented person. And he's changing, he's realizing, but only time will tell if he will really sincerely change and come forward, or if I just have to move on and trust God that he has someone else out there for me who will treat me better, now that I know my own self-worth, because before I didn't know my self-worth. So yeah, I still love my ex, I do, but again, I'm in love with the representative he was in the beginning, because that was when I was so happy, and I really was like, could he be true? I was like, thank you, God, for bringing him to me, because I was so sad and depressed with my ex-husband of 10 years. And we separated before I got with my ex, that's the father of my son. But, I live in France, and I had no choice but to stay legally married to him until we divorce. Because if I was living in America and this happened, I would have left my ex-husband, and I would have already divorced him a long time ago and moved on with my life. But I don't speak French very good, and this is the French administrative. But yeah, so we'll see how things play out. That's why I'm keeping this as a journal. You guys will know in the end what happens, because I'm curious, because I want to know if my tarot readings also um, become true. You'll see it too then. I will say that the one that I did where he was being sneaky, I was expecting that to be like months later, and it turned out to be the day after, the day 1 day later. That was during Christmas. So it was a tarot spread where he was being sneaky. He was going to come back into my life and be sneaky about it, but really he wanted a relationship. And that was the Christmas one. But it's like, was that real or was that a coincidence? So let's see these other tarot readings, because they've all been very consistent. That he's coming back, that he's changing, that things are going to be great. But I have to be patient. And this cards say that too. I have to be patient. Okay, talk to you later. Not gonna call him. Bye.